everybody, thanks for stopping in the studio, and today we're covering the concrete limiter from Sonar Cakewalk, and this is a brick wall limiter that's exclusive to Sonar. It's used in their Pro Channel as a Pro Channel module, as you can see in the screen here. I've got a little session set up here with TuneTrack Drummer. I've used the Avatar New York set. It's a great sounding set. And I wanted to use these drums because the limiter really excels on drums. It isn't just specific to drums. You can use it on anything. You can use it on a bus. You can use it on individual channels and different sound sources. But let me start a loop here and then I can talk over it as we're working about it. Let me ditch this user interface. Now, as you can see, I've got on channel 1 here, I've got the main MIDI channel, and then I've got each channel separated. I've got the kick drum, and likewise the snare, hi-hats. And then with TuneTrack in some situations, you're given a lot of ambient mics, which I really like here. They have a close ambient, mid-ambient, a far ambient, and the overheads, and of course the toms. Now I've got the Pro Channel where I flew that out of the main channel, and I've set up the concrete limiter in each one here that I wanted to demonstrate, specifically on the kick, snare, and the ambient. And I also put one on the main bus here, the master bus. For this particular session, I just took the drums and threw them all through the master here. But first, let me demonstrate the limiter on the bass drum only. I'm going to solo the bass drum. And let me zoom in here so you can see exactly more what I'm doing. And then to turn these modules on, all the modules in the Pro Channel will have this little button right here. You turn it on, which says Enable. And you can hear instantly that the effect really beefs up the sound of the kick drum, thickens it out. Now on the limiter, you have a couple of controls here. You have a threshold control, which is this guy, this slider right here, and generally you just bring it down below. You see where the meter is happening there, and then that will activate the limiter. This middle graph shows the gain reduction. And then the ceiling is basically the output, or it's the makeup volume that you can have. Now, of course, I can turn it up quite a bit, or I can turn it back down. What I tried to do in this instance is to match the volume with the effect on and off, so you could really hear the difference. And let me put that back in the mix again. There also is a bass lift, which is this little toggle switch right here. Right now it's off, and that has the effect of handling the lower frequencies a little bit differently, that as you pull down on the threshold, it will simulate some soft clipping like you might experience in a tube piece of equipment or such. And let me turn that on. And you can hear that really gives that some thud. Now, something that you wouldn't necessarily use in a jazz trio for sure, but you might. But this is great for pop or rock or metal or dance music or whatever you like to record. Let me demonstrate it on the snare here. Let me slide over to this module here. I'm going to turn this back off. You can hear how it thickened up the snares, made the actual snares a little bit more evident. That bass lift. So it really does quite a bit. Let me move over to the ambient mic here. This is a very good place to use this type of limiter. You can hear that's a very nice room sound. You can hear it just squashes the ambience, which in effect can make the kick or the whole entire kit sound a lot larger. So it works great on the ambient mic, as you can hear. Great on the kick, great on the snare. And then finally, let me just put it on the whole mix. I think it really sounds good. Now, like any effect, you can overuse it, really squash things. You can hear the ambience is getting pretty strange. But just lightly used. Let me just gently put it back on the snare. In fact, I'll put it back on everything. A very subtle but great effect. And that's all I really wanted to cover about the concrete limiter. It's very versatile, like I say, very transparent, except of course when you engage the bass lift, you can really hear that. It becomes very noticeable. Very easy to use, just has the threshold, the ceiling or makeup slider, makeup volume slider, and the bass boost. And the one last thing I didn't cover yet is on the release time, you can manually set that. You can see here on this control, or you can just set it to auto. Depending on your source, what you might want to engage that for. Again, that's a concrete limiter, a ProChannel module from Cakewalk and their Sonar series, Sonar X series. And we'll catch you in the next video. Thanks a lot, guys.